So we've just finished the Dark Moon Gemini Which Fool Are You ceremony where we met as our archetype. So I'm here as my archetype, which is the warrior, which is a piratey fighter for innocence and truth and nature, the things that don't have a voice, that the divine beauty of this planet, everything that we are lucky to be here experiencing, for life, for all of us, for the vulnerable, for just for truth, basically, for truth and for divine beauty and nature. That's what I would die for and would be burnt at the stake for and would willingly go into fucking battle and kill for. I would fight for that, to protect this planet and to protect everybody on it, and the my little cat that's there, the birds, the plants, all of the things. And yeah, was in a ceremony with Freya. Someone else in the circle has found their wild woman, and yeah, Freya energy. It was wonderful, and the message that came through for both of us was that, like, we've got your back. We've got your back, and it will all be okay, and that we're here supporting you. And it doesn't mean that everything's going to be fine. It doesn't mean that it's all going to be bells and whistles. Like, you might have to be burnt at the stake. If I don't die that way, then I haven't tried hard enough. So yeah, it's not all going to be happy days and plain sailing, but you just got to be up for the ride. And the more you're enjoying it and owning it and going for it with who you are, the better. So that was mega. So it's Gemini. The Dark Moon ceremony is going to be starting imminently, so I might have to pause this video to welcome people into the space. But I just thought, well, I'm here and I'm ready and I'm up for doing something. So I was thinking I'd do a reading. It'd be nice to just check in myself with everything. That was so beautiful. It's interesting because it's Gemini, so it's really easy to be heady, and I was a bit heady to begin with, and was a bit late because of stupid outer world things, but it was really wonderful because who I was in ceremony with and just generally doing it brings you back in and brings you back to what is actually important in the here and now, and that the story of whatever's going on in the world is very insignificant. It's so insignificant. We do a meditation, which I highly recommend doing, which is I've got a hazelnut here. There's a really powerful piece of writing by Julian of Norwich. Look it up, about a hazelnut. She sees how Mary, which for her is the goddess, and the goddess is life. It's the life force energy. There's a reason why, you know, like if you've got the physical strong man, when he's the god and then the woman's like the problem, it's just so, well, we see what that creates. The world we live in now, with all of the issues that we have and problems that we have, and the fact that we're basically heading towards death, hurtling towards death, means that we are, well, that's the result of a life where man's at the top, women are a fucking nuisance and a problem and the sin and all that stuff, and they just get to go around being, you know, big old bully old boys. It just isn't really good for them or us. No one comes out well from it. It's lots of war, it's lots of fighting, it's lots of toxic masculinity. Whereas when you're holding up the feminine and revering the feminine, which is life, which is life force, which is nature, it's earth, it's this beautiful, magical thing that we've got to be part of, that's gone in an instant, that will be gone in an instant, and that will be gone in an instant. And it's a miracle that it's happened. When you hold that up and revere that, then it will be a happier place. So she realised from holding this hazelnut, well, she saw that Mary, the goddess, was holding a hazelnut, and that the whole universe was the size of a hazelnut. And it was just so like me now as the goddess holding the whole universe in my hand. And that's what we're just doing in the Which Fool Are You ceremony of this looking down on the earth and looking down in the universe and seeing yourself and seeing this little being down there who's doing their best, who's trying really hard to struggle their way through and whatever, all the nonsense of whatever it is that's bothering that day or whatever, trying really hard and just giving them that love and sending them that love and then feeling it coming to you. So it's something you can do. Get yourself a hazelnut and you can just sit there and feel this feeling yourself. Wondrousness. Yum. So while there's no one here, people are always late to the dark moon because it's a inner time. So that's amazing. This is literally the rune of my archetype, Artemis. So up until now I've always connected with Aphrodite, and I do connect with Aphrodite, but what this adventure has taken me on, which was unexpected, which was my feminine warrior, it's much more Artemis, and Artemis is definitely different to Aphrodite because she's a virgin. So it's the more pure, innocent. This is the thing, like, as Strumpet, I would fight and die for the innocent. I would fight and die for, yeah, nature, that doesn't have a voice. But it's definitely a different thing. So I've got my Aphrodite-ness. That's in the can, but this is the Artemis archetype that I've been exploring. Someone's just got into the waiting room for the dark moon, so I'm going to pause this and I will come back and we will finish this after a ceremony. Well, that was absolutely amazing and perfect and exactly what I needed. It's Gemini, it's air, it's chatty, it's ideas and stuff, and yeah, like, I don't even know if I said it earlier, but like something had put me in my head to do with not getting Arts Council funding, and just talking about how that's like my deepest wound, because it's in my head the story of why my parents split up was because of money, and it's my judgment I'm not good enough. So anything to do with money just puts me into fear, and we're just talking about fear and ego, and that's the alchemical wedding which we're in, Gemini moon. And the reason why I do the Witchful course at this time of year is because we have this alchemical moon with the higher and lower self, the alchemical wedding between you and your higher self. And the thing that separates us, or that we deal with in our avatar on the earth, is the fear and ego. So being in fear, living in fear, realizing there's nothing to be scared of, that things trigger you, but what does that mean? What's that teaching us? What is that bringing up? For me, I've got to just trust that, okay, I didn't get the money, and yesterday was Jupiter and the moon going conjunct is like success is unavoidable, or fortune is unavoidable, it's good fortune. It's trusting, okay, I didn't get the Arts Council funding, so that means something else is now going to happen that I have to just trust is going to happen. But doesn't pay the fucking bills though, does it? And then, yeah, that we have this avatar that still needs looking after, like that still needs things. So ego doesn't necessarily mean, ego's not a bad thing. Ego is your avatar. It's the bit that's on the earth that's just doing its best, that's trying to get through the night. It can be cocky, but it can be small, and being small is just as egotistical as being cocky. It's about dissolving all of that and surrendering and opening to the higher self, which is the alchemical marriage of like asking for help and also trusting and not being in that fear. So yes, okay, I'm off on some other journey. I didn't get the money. I have no money and I have to just trust that something's going to happen, and that whatever this forces me to therefore do means that something better will happen. So all of that. So yes, Artemis was the rune that came out in the beginning. We were talking about the warrior as well. So Venus has just gone into conjunct with the sun, which means she disappeared in the sun and then disappears below the horizon for 40 days and 40 nights, which is where all of the religious stuff comes from, of Jesus and everything, 40 days and 40 nights. Persephone, Orpheus, all of the descending into the underworld and returning again is Venus disappearing below the horizon and returning again. And she swaps from being the morning star to the evening star. So she's been the morning star for 4 years, which is the warrior. which is interesting. So the last 4 years has been the warrior phase of Venus, and I have like got out of a marriage that was dysfunctional, didn't work, and then moved here, and then have met someone and have fallen in love. So it's got a real like, and now it's the evening star being reborn, and that's the sage. So you can actually look up online what you are. So I'm a warrior, obviously. So I was born in the morning star phase of Venus at its height, which is also obvious because it's my archetype. But we're now entering the sage phase for 4 years. So it's just an interesting cycle because that's to do with love and romance and relationships and talent. And it does feel like this is where I was at for this year, was that I wanted to kind of just get proper and galvanise what I do in a more like making some money and just supporting me better way. So this crunch point probably is, you know, kick up the backside to keep making that happen, because the wedding kind of took a lot of time and space with doing that. So yeah, blah de blah de blah, I'll figure it out. So anyway, I've got Artemis in the middle, which for me is perfect. It's the warrior. We're just coming out this warrior phase from Venus, but I'm exploring the warrior as an archetype, and there's plenty to fight for right now. Plenty for us to be doing in the world. Physically, what's necessary, and that's very relevant for not getting the funding bid. Necessity. So it's making us do what's actually physically necessary. What is it that's really important? Because yeah, you can have to-do lists. Sometimes, like with what happened with not getting the funding, my to-do lists kind of go out the window, because if I can't afford to do it, I can't do it. So I'm gonna have to make some like real cut. And actually the sword's really relevant. The sword's the symbol of Gemini. So cutting away what actually serves and what doesn't serve, and what you can actually do and what you can't do, is very relevant. What is necessary? What can you... And it also looks like a sword. The symbol actually looks like a sword. So cutting away what you can and can't do. But then communication is abundance, which is Gemini. Like, we've all got a million things to say and a million things to share and talk about and ideas. So there's plenty of ideas, which is also really relevant. There's lots of things that we can be doing. In terms of our willpower, it's full throttle sunshine. So we've got all the power there to do it. We've got sunshine level of power. So that's good. And be strong. And I love this rune now. This used to be like the one that I was least connected to. I'd always be like, oh yeah, be strong. But that was the end rune of the 4 pilgrimages. And at the end of the 4 pilgrimages, I felt like a fucking superhero. In terms of warrior as well. That is like full tank girl. Like, I just felt, I was Wonder Woman. I just felt so strong. And so like, the strength was about being alive. It was like, fucking hell, it's good to be alive. And I'm here. I'm physically here, and I'm physically alive, and I am so happy to be alive. Come at me with what you've got, slings and arrows, whatever it is. It's all part of the ride. And I guess that's good for me to reconnect with and remember when I'm feeling in my fear, because yeah, fuck it, it's all part of the ride. It's all part of the journey. Trust the process, trust the universe. The thing is though, is that the universe is always sort of trying to lead you back to your highest self, higher purpose. Whether it actually is out there doing that, or whether, you know, the one thing we have control over is what we make things mean. So whether it's actually a, you know, divine thing choosing it, or whether it's just what you're able to do with it, we can always make things mean stuff. But there is also the reality of needing to look after your avatar. So that's why I feel like I've got a real kind of desire to practically sort stuff out so that it works. That's my desire right now, is to... There you go, something just flew out. Success. My desire is for success, definitely. And it's a 6. Today is 666. So it's the 6th of the 6th, 24, and 24 you add together makes 6, because it only goes up to 11. Oh. Princess of Wands, and she's like the lust card. That's her just fully in her flow, being in her power, archetypal energy, being her highest self, pulling a fucking tiger behind her like a pro. So that's wait, okay. Oh, the Princess of Discs, like that's probably my card, I'd say, if I was going to be one of the Thoth deck. That's the one that I feel like, because it's the Earth. It's look at her, it's Ellen. So this, when I did the podcast with Megan, which is one of the things that I'd like to get out there actually as soon as possible, is actually do these podcasts and get this one that I did with Megan, which was amazing. She's Ellen, which was the pilgrimage. We just finished with this. Yeah, connecting and remembering. She's the warrior. It's the she's the goddess of the ways. So it's carving out your own way, not following the way that already exists, but carving out your own way. So very relevant. But how do we carve out our own way and not the game, the narrative, the story is so fucked. Like, there's just no point, is there, in trying to like follow the routes that have been prescribed, because they're just irrelevant now. They're not going to be around for much longer, and I don't mean that, you know, they're just not, are they? So yeah, definitely carve out your own way. Yeah, I'm glad I shared that hazelnut meditation with you. Definitely do that. It's keep looking up there because the screen's up there for the ceremonies, and I'm on that, so I keep thinking that I'm looking at that. Power. Awesome. Yeah, this is the warrior. I mean, this is just a warrior reading, which is, you know, that's what's going on right now. But it is interesting because we're leaving the warrior behind in terms of the Venus, but she still is a warrior, but she's just in her, you know, thinking about things phase, contemplative phase, the sage. We were just talking about that, like, are we about to fight? What fight are we readying ourselves for? Is there a fight, or can we soften into there not being a fight? I've always felt like I was building towards a fight, but then now I'm more of an age where it's like, I just want to be strong, fit and healthy for whatever happens in the next 50 years, because I don't know. And I know we've never known, but it does feel very volatile. But it probably, you know, did in the 60s. Just being that I'm 45, so I'm just aware 55, 65, it's not long before my body will be failing me, and just that it will be at a time where the NHS is like less likely to be here, and pensions and all the rest of it, like how to be ready for whatever comes, you know, which is part of the success thing about just trying to get something a bit more stable and supportive. Got the shaman, which is the sage. Yeah, being a medicine, how to be a medicine for people and support people, and be connected to the land and nature, all of the things, because that's what it's all for. That's the thing that we're, you know, that I'm fighting for and would die for, and all the rest of it. A connection to the land, knowing that we are. I was just sharing this. In fact, I can share it with you now because I've moved it. This was the iconostasis that we made, that I've made for my warrior, and it was just interesting that Mary Magdalene's in the middle. It kind of circumstance that she ended up being there in the middle. It wasn't planned, so I kind of made it based on what size things I had and what room there was on it, and like she just fitted really nicely in the middle. And then I was like, oh, that's interesting. Why is she? Because she sort of feels more like the strumpet, which is my other archetype. But actually, she wasn't a strumpet. That's how she got labelled by the Christian church. Her gospel was removed from the Bible because her and Jesus were saying that God's within us, that we don't need priests and religion. We are God, which is completely what I believe. I mean, what I mean is we're alive and we're part of the universe, and that is it, and that's what we are. And that's what she was saying. So like, and she's letting the energy she's letting out of the pot there is the dragon, and the dragon is nature. Like the dragon lines are the energy lines in Chinese mythology, like the song lines in Aborigine. They're called dragon lines. So the dragon is the earth energy, and within us, that's the warrior in me, is the dragon. Don't remember what I was saying in that now. Oh, the shaman. So yeah, that is nature and all of that connection. It's all one. Like, yeah, I'm a warrior and fight, and that's what St. Michael is as well. Because St. Michael's a warrior of the light and what is God's will or righteous and stuff. But for me, that's this, it's being alive, it's the planet, it's Earth, it's nature. Yeah. Stuff. Let's see what deity I pull. Tell it's Gemini, the amount of talking. Gemini energy is like... there we go, Circe, reflection, which is the sage. So that's what we're looking at now. It's a time to reflect and like think about what happened in the last 4 years. So that was a warrior cycle. For me, that was me leaving Brighton, coming here, carving out a new life and a new relationship and a new marriage. And now we've got this 4 years of reflection. It's like, what is it we want to create? What is it we want to do? And it's Circe. I've never pulled this card before, so I'm going to read her out. That's interesting. I love Circe. She was the original witch. Just seen Ellen, she's in there. Reflection. As the Greek goddess of sorcery, Circe is known for her proficiency with magical transformation, illusions, and necromancy. She was born of the Titan Helios and ocean nymph Perse, blessed with the ability to weave divine enchantments however she pleased. She is most famously featured within Homer's Odyssey, where Greek hero Odysseus and his crew make their way to her island of Aea after the Trojan War. Once they make landfall, she transforms all the men, except for Odysseus, into various animals depending on the innermost traits that define their true nature. I thought they'd turn them all into pigs, but... Circe urges you to look past the illusions and find the power in reflection. Just as the Greek enchantress transforms Odysseus's, am I saying that right? Anyway, crew into wild beasts based on their true natures, the negative dialogue we allow within ourselves on a daily basis changes the way in which we perceive our reality. Create or be created. And our words are spells. We fail to recognise the delicate balance between inner and outer turmoil, allowing the mirror image of our negativity to reflect into the physical world around us. Circe has come to help you reclaim that positive thought process once again, beginning with the reflection within you. My cats are after food. Only by relieving yourself of the burden of self-antagonising behaviour can you truly open your heart to possibility. Absolutely. Yes. So yeah, we create our words. This time, Gemini and Jupiter's gone into Gemini for a year. Is that right? So Jupiter's gone into Gemini for a year, and it's, yeah, so it's every 12 years. So it's been 12 years till it comes back. So it's just been in Taurus, gone into Gemini. So for the next year, more than ever, our words will create our world. Like, words are really important. They are anyway, but in Gemini-ness, Jupiter is fortune. It's the, you know, what, and rebellion and things, like, it's a big deal. So our words are more important than ever. So what is it we want to create? What are we saying we're doing? What do we want to create on the world? So with that, go create something amazing. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed chatting away to people because it's so chatty, it's ridiculous. If you've got ADHD, then it's going to be even more ADHD. So make sure you breathe, land. I feel so glad about tonight. This is the reason why I do ceremony, because otherwise I would have literally been in my head. I don't know how long it would have taken for me to come out of my place of fear from that trigger. But being in ceremony, talking it through, connecting, landing, having someone say it, you're in your head, and making me land, has just really nourished so much and healed. And yeah, so thank you, good night, happy dark moon in Gemini.